Turn up the volume and listen in. It's time for breakfast with Life Radio. Only Life Radio could make breakfast sound this good.
Like a bird on a tree.
Hi, this is Rob Mcgowan with Life Radio. We're here with Mayor Adam Lordan. We're talking about all things going on. Exciting times right now. I noticed that we're all getting ready for the election, and you get a lot of phone calls this time of year, election time. Everybody wants to make sure they're getting their voice out there. So what are you looking for from the city, as your perspective, what you'd like to see in this election?
Well, it's election times are they're supposed to be about ideas, right? And hearing where the parties stand, and opportunities for us to think about what we need as citizens and as a community. And so I actually, as the mayor of Miramichi, I'm the president of the 8 Cities New Brunswick Association, and I represent our 8 cities on the national board of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, which is the national advocacy group for cities and towns across Canada to make our voice heard with the federal government.
Wow,
so that group is calling for a number of initiatives in this election campaign, and we certainly need the help of citizens to raise awareness on these issues. And I think the biggest one that we're making sure is a conversation this election is affordable housing.
Oh, awesome. So we can talk about that a lot.
Well, we know in Miramichi and communities big and small, there is a huge need for more affordable housing in our community. We have, a 1%, which is basically a 0% vacancy rate in the community. So we lack housing in general. Mm-hmm. And when we are finally seeing some housing being built in Miramichi right now, but it's all in the higher end income brackets.
Okay.
So we need help from the federal government and the provincial government to get affordable and social housing built in the community. So what we're asking is to make sure that all of the federal parties commit to maintaining or increasing the funding laid out in the National Housing Strategy. So when one of these federal candidates comes to your door, ask them if they're committed to supporting and funding affordable housing in the Miramichi and across the country.
That's great. I'm going to be interviewing them all this week, so that's a question I'll definitely put to each and every one of them, so you'll be able to tune in and find out their answers.
Good. Well, you can put it to them on behalf of all of us, Rob. That's great.
Sounds awesome.
And one of the other issues that we're making sure we talk about is infrastructure spending. So a few years ago, communities, cities, and municipalities across the country were able to get the federal government to commit to something called the Gas Tax Infrastructure Fund. So what that is a dedicated annual transfer of money from the federal government directly to cities and communities to work on infrastructure projects in their community. So right now, the city of Miramichi gets from that fund annually about $1.5 million.
Okay.
And this year, the current government did a one-time doubling of that fund. So that meant that we got this summer $3 million to work on infrastructure projects. This includes things like roads, water systems, rec facilities, parks, any public and community infrastructure. And as you know, Rob, we're a big city with a lot of infrastructure and only so many dollars to help improve that infrastructure. So every year we use that gas tax funding to repave roads, to renew our water systems underneath those roads, and to help us improve our parks and our public spaces around the community, to make sure that we have water and roads and public spaces that are going to make people want to stay in Miramichi and live in Miramichi. And that's very, very important.
Well, we've seen a lot of work going on, as we'll talk about later, about new projects coming up, but some of the projects have been done already. Everybody can see in our parks when they go around how beautiful they are, and the work that's been done. So we know that projects are getting completed, and we're going to talk about new projects that are coming up. So.
Well, and everything often comes down to money. And so the more funding we have, and we know we're going to have from a federal and provincial governments, in this case federal because we're talking a federal election, that's going to help us do more in the community. So again, when you're asking about affordable housing, also ask if they're committed to doubling the gas tax funding to help with community infrastructure.
Awesome.
Now, on a local level, we'll mention a couple of quick things too.
Sure.
We're looking and this is in an infrastructure vein, but we're looking to build a new centralized recreation facility in Miramichi.
Oh, really? So how big would it be?
Well, it would replace several of our current facilities: the Golden Hawk Rec Center, the Linden Rec Center, the Chatham Pool,
Oh, really? So one great big center?
The LBA, one centralized rec facility. Because right now in Miramichi, we have some of the oldest recreation facilities in the province.
Wow.
So this will give us a new, modern facility. It will be cheaper to operate. It'll be much more environmentally friendly and fuel efficient. Did you know, for example, that we spend about $20,000 a month on oil for the Golden Hawk alone?
Wow.
So this will bring everything into one roof, centralize it for the citizens, give them a new and modern facility, and we need federal and provincial funding supports to do that. Now, the current federal government has committed to the project, but we want to make sure that every party's committed so that no matter who forms the next government, we can count on their support to bring a new recreation facility to Miramichi.
That's great. Well, there's question number 2. When I start talking to politicians, you're going to have to write me a list.
I will absolutely leave you a list. I'll gladly leave you a list.
Sounds great. Well, we're talking with Mayor Adam Lordan, so keep listening. We got more stuff coming up.